wonderful at making eyes look amazing. So here's the before. You can see it's a nice portrait, but she does have some skin issues. And her eyes, even though they have a nice catch light, they could be brightened up a little bit. And there's what I came up with. I just want to take a quick moment and say hello. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to right click on my image here, go to adjustments, and revert this to the original. And you can see what I started with. We'll go ahead and work it from the beginning. Now, the first thing I want to do here is crop it in a little bit, get some of the distractions on the side out of the way, and really draw us into our subject. I'm going to go to Composition AI, and I'm going to convert this into a square crop. I think it suits this image really nicely. It just frames her perfectly. I'll hit return on my keyboard to go ahead and commit that crop. Next, we'll do our Enhance AI. We'll just bring that up a tiny bit, and that's going to do a little bit of color correction, a little bit of tonal enhancements, color enhancements, nothing too crazy, just some really basic stuff. And then we're going to scroll all the way down to our portrait tools, and this is where we get to have a lot of fun. We'll start with Face AI. I like to work my way down through the portrait tools one by one. We'll add a little bit of face light, not that it needs a whole lot. Her face is nicely lit. Her face doesn't need any slimming in my opinion. And now in the section with the eyes, this is where we really add that sparkle to the eyes. You can change the iris color. In this case, I'm going to leave that alone because her eyes are a beautiful brown, and you can adjust that iris visibility. That's going to have most to do with changing the iris color. Next is adding iris flare. And this is going to make it look like she had a reflector underneath her face to give a catch light in the bottom of her eye. So as I drag this up, look at what it's doing to the bottom of the eye. You can see if I take it all the way up to 100, it's added a really nice catch light there at the bottom of her eye. Obviously 100 is a bit too much, so I'm going to pull that back until it looks natural. I think right about there, it just lightens up her eyes and makes her look a little bit more alive. All right, and Becky's asking, is this to be recorded? Yes, this is being recorded, and you can always come back and watch it here on YouTube. All right, next thing we're going to do, I'm not going to enlarge her eyes. That's really great for if you have somebody who's squinting and they're looking into the sun, or they have some sort of light in their face and they're squinting. Use that enlarged eyes to just give their eyes a little bit more real estate, make them look a little bit more awake. Eye whitening, I don't think this image needs it really that much at all. The whites of her eyes are pretty creamy and nice. Eye enhancer, this one is the fun one. I'm going to pull that up to the right. I'll pull it all the way up to the right, and you can see that it adds so much detail and sparkle to the eye. You go ahead and zoom into 200% here, and you can really see what's happened there. If I take this tool and turn it off, and then back on again, you can see that that's created a lot of contrast. In this case, I think it's gone a little too far, taking it over the top. So again, I'll pull that back until it looks natural. We want to make sure we're adding some detail, adding a little bit of sharpness, but we don't want to make her look crazy or otherworldly. In this instance, I could remove maybe a little bit of dark circles. She doesn't have much of that going on. Her eyebrows look great. There's no red eye to remove. And then if I go down to the mouth section, we can add a little bit of lips darkening, a little bit of lips redness, just to give her a little bit more life. I don't want to make her look like she has full-on lipstick on. It just gives a little bit more life to her face. Now to go ahead and touch this up, let's go ahead and go to skin. We'll pull that skin AI up a bit, and that's just going to smooth out some of the imperfections in her skin. You can see she has a few blemishes here on her cheek, and it just softens those out. We can also check skin defects removal, and that gets rid of a lot of those. We might even want to pull that up just a tiny bit more. The next section here, body AI, that's if you're working with more of a full body portrait and you need to do some body shaping. We don't have that issue here. Excuse me, got a tickle. Give me just a moment here. All right. The last thing I want to do to this image is add high key. I just think it works really well for this image since it's such a light, airy portrait to begin with. Let's go ahead and add some of that high key. Not too much because it does tend to wash out the image. I don't want to make it look too flat. If we pull it up too high, you see it just pulls out so much of the color. I want to just add a little touch there. And then I'm going to call that good. I think it looks beautiful. So we have, here's our before, and there's our after. And again, let me zoom in. I'm going to go into 200%. We really want to take a nice close look at these eyes and see how we were able to make them really sparkle. So again, here's the before and the after. And it just brought out a lot of natural beauty that's already there in her eyes. Now I want to do one